don't know if anyone's watching right this second. If you are, thanks for being here. Early, no less. I'm gonna be going for the music this time. Last time we had a lot of technical difficulties with it, but this time I think I got it figured out. So I'm just gonna go ahead and play it. Hopefully nothing terrible happens. If something terrible does happen, just let me know in the chat. Alright, here we go. No more delay. Yay, you guys are here. Awesome. Actually tells me that 0 are watching currently, but that's alright. Yeah, so, oh, we got 1. Great. That means I can do it. All it takes is 1. Thanks for being here. Yeah, we're gonna be continuing our journey through the spooky, scary stories in the Ceramic Uncertainty. Right now, last time we got through 9 stories, as you can see. That was pretty awesome. Stoked on that. Yeah, I love Halloween. Yeah. Patch notes. There's no patch for this time. But I mean, there could be a patch. That's actually one of the goals. If I can get 4 patrons, I'll release a patch for this game that will fix a lot of bugs. And by bugs, I mean spelling errors and grammatical issues. Otherwise, yeah, if I can't make that goal, I can't really put in the time to do that sort of thing. That would be 3rd tier goal, which is 4 patrons. Yeah, I need 4 patrons to get the patch notes. And if we do that, patch notes, sorry, the patch, and S tier, yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying. So, S tier is where we do the Outlast 2 demo stream, which was, I think it was 5 patrons for that one. But maybe that's triple S tier. We'll say getting the patch released, that's S tier. So, on Patreon, let's see. Oh man, the chat is real responsive right now. I'm pretty stoked. There's not a lot of delay. Let's see. Art of the Deal, huh? Yeah, I mean, that would be interesting. Let's see. Yeah, Patreon says $100. Yeah, so that is basically being my boss in terms of what I do with my creative work. So I am not a construction worker, so it doesn't apply to my skills and what I offer on Patreon. So no, $100 on Patreon will not get you construction work. I'm sorry about that. Let's see. Turn a few tricks. Well, we'll see what tricks are in store. Psychological tricks, I suppose. Because this is a spooky game with spooky things that happen sometimes. What if the construction is performance art? Well, yeah. If the construction is performance art, then I suppose, yeah, it. You got me there. Yeah, object being constructed would be the act of building it. I totally am into that sort of thing, actually. Like, installations, performance art in general. That would be really cool. I have a lot. I have like a list on my iPod of all these performance art ideas I want to do. Um, One of those was like where I come into a show and I like have a stereo, and normally like I would be playing with my guitar and stuff. I would just bring a stereo with a CD or my iPod plugged into it, and I would just play the stereo. I would play an entire album just on the iPod, and I would just sit there and stare at everyone in the audience. Um, yeah, that's my performance art idea. I still need to get on that and actually do it, but we'll see when that happens. No adult content. That's not how I operate. Sorry. Paying taxes as performance art? Yeah, I mean, I bet you could do that somehow. I would be interested in reading how someone does that anyway. It's not really my MO. Um, yeah, I don't have any creative skills that involve moving packages back and forth from Tijuana. No, I am not that sort of creative type. So, yeah, assuming everyone in here in chat was here yesterday, I will go ahead and start the reading, and I'll give the abridged version of like the do-over parts for the story, like the very beginning here, and yeah, we'll just I'll bridge that, and then we'll just get into some new story plot lines. There's one in particular I'm really excited for. I'm gonna try and save it for the end, because it's like kind of epic, but I will really highly value your guys' participation in like voting for paths and things like that. So if you have questions, I'd love to answer them. Is it macabre? I mean, I don't know if it's not macabre, but and how's the volume levels? Can you guys hear the music and my voice well? Really good there. Feedback on that would be nice. There is music playing right now. It's really ambient. It's the songs that it's one of the songs that when we reached a patron goal of one patron yesterday. It's going to be released on my Bandcamp. I'll be putting out links to that at the end of the stream. I'll also be posting that to Facebook and whatnot. And real excited to share that with you guys, because I think they came out pretty well. They're very spooky. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I would love to learn how other people drive their hype and whatnot. I'm just doing this for fun and to like get people stoked on this game that I made. You know, a lot of if there's one thing I could change about the development of the Ceramic Uncertainty, it was that when I developed it, no, I didn't really get to hear about other people's experiences with the game. A lot of people seem to have tried it out, at least. I don't know how far they've played it. I have no way of tracking that. But yeah, after I got the review on Jay's Games, it like, I think I got like 2,200 plays on the online version, and I got a few hundred downloads of the game on itch.io. That was sweet. I was really stoked on that. But I haven't really talked to anyone about. I haven't gotten their feedback or of their experience. I haven't gotten even criticism, like just haven't really heard anything other than I liked it, I thought it was funny, or this and that, and like this is fine. Just I guess myself as a creator, I like to be really personal. It's why I like platforms like Patreon, is because I can talk to people who are interested in listening, and then I like to hear what they have to say. And so, yeah, as a creator, needs pictures. Yeah, I mean, I agree. Honestly, I think this game would do well to have more art. It was something that I had to be pretty adamant about not including going into the development, because I knew that I couldn't afford artists, which is something I talked about on Saturday when we did the last stream, is that paying artists a fair amount, I have never been in the financial situation to afford that. I have milestones on my Patreon. They kind of talk about making that sort of thing happen. And I really want to, and I have a bunch of people lined up to ask and to get the ball rolling on that. It's literally as soon as I get the money, I would love to get started on that. I also have like a lot of game design elements I would love to implement. It would be a complete revamp of the game if I went and added art. It would be a lot more engaging. It would be less of a book and more of an experience. So yeah, right now it's like 95% a book. It's a book where you get to choose what page you go to. And there are some elements of design that are not common in books, like how the endings are portrayed. But yeah, that's a nitpicky conversation for like a blog post. So I have considered becoming an artist, but because I've invested so much time into learning game design, learning programming, being a better writer, being a better musician, learning how to become an artist on top of all of that is it's a challenge I'm not up to the task of going for. And yeah, like I've also considered like trying to talk to people and be like, hey, do you want to do this sort of labor of love, like work at this with me, where you're getting paid just about as much as I would be getting paid, and just kind of work at it from there. But I just don't really see artists being motivated for a project that's not theirs, that is something they're attached to, without being compensated, or without a guarantee of compensation. Like, I only made $60 on the Ceramic Uncertainty off of game sales, or donations I should say, because I've set it at name your own price, and I made $60. I worked on it for 10 months part-time, and that's like, I think that's better than any of my, like, between how many people played it and how much money I got from it, just the game, that is more than I can say for any of my online music distribution, which is really cool, because like it showed that the game was interesting enough to have a bunch of strangers play it. That's awesome. Music is really hard to promote because of oversaturation of things, and so even if you are unique, just because there's so many bands and names and stuff, it's just hard to get through anything. Video games are becoming like that, but I think that they have a little more to that. Like, there are so many niches here and there that I think it kind of, you have a better chance. What if you're actually capable of doing that and you're just self-sabotaging in an attempt to make yourself more comfortable? yeah, I've considered that a lot, but I am sticking to my guns and saying that I that's just where I'm at right now. I feel pretty confident in that because self-sabotage is a thing for sure, and being susceptible to that as a creative person, as someone who is also seeks engagement with people in their art. I have considered, hey, are you just trying to make yourself feel better about the fact that you're just not very good at what you're doing? To put it bluntly, I don't think I'm bad at what I do. I do think I'm inexperienced, but I think that what I am capable of doing and what I have done is good, and yeah, I would like to really push things forward in the future and do things in a way that is healthy as well. So comfortability versus health, that is also a factor to consider. And right now, learning how to be an artist is not a healthy thing for me to start working on. So yay, we got a couple of viewers while I was talking about being a creator. Thanks for watching. We're gonna get started with the game here. Like I was talking to other folks in chat, if you have any questions or comments or thoughts, please voice your opinion. I'm gonna be doing some votes for certain paths here and there. So yeah, we're gonna get started. So we're at the beginning here, and I'm gonna kind of go through this in a sort of Reader's Digest version for the first few bits until we get into the meat of the particular story branches. So let it begin. Rise and shine, it's 8:30 a.m. You're just about ready to head out for work. Not too late, not too early. You had to grab your keys off the dining table, but to your surprise, a mysterious ceramic pot filled with what seems to be dirt sits on the center of the table. You don't recall such a thing. A present, a message, and from whom or where did it come from? Alright, so trying to think where we're going. We're gonna get some violent stuff going. Let's get violent and throw it out. A sprout shoots out of the dirt as you reach to reject this ominous anomaly, as if reacting to its apparent fate. We're violent, grab the pot. Yeah, I'm gonna go with my voices that I had for last stream. So channeling my D&D character Doda here. This thing is weird and I'm not having any of it. You affirm in your mind, seizing the pot with both hands. A whir comes from the plant that is steadily oscillating in pitch. It seems to be reacting to the way you carry it. Ding dong. Little sound effects here and there. That'd be fun. Yeah, you hear a ring from the doorbell. Oh, what bothersome timing someone has. Violence! We answer the door. You walk to the door, absent-mindedly carrying the plant. You open the door to find your gleeful mother upon the welcome mat, and look here, a box of homemade cookies. Surprise! I know you weren't expecting company after... What in the... You both look down at the plant and watch the bulb open slowly before your eyes. Alright. Violence. We give her the plant. Just I just imagine the character just, being volatile in every little bit that he can right now because darkness. This is a plant thing. I thought you'd like it. Amazing! Oh, I know. If I had known you were going to get me something so lovely, I'd have put chocolate chips in the cookies. Oh, I know. I'll make dinner. I bet you haven't eaten since your lunch break. Success. She invites herself in. For as surprisingly long as a pot of boiling water can prove to distract the focus of you both, the purring, newly blossomed plant takes vigil on the dinner table. The head of the plant finds you as its true north. No matter where you find yourself, the plant points at you. I truly have no idea where this thing came from, you confess to your mother. Oh, thanks for watching, Jay. Appreciate it. Let's see. Violence will be... There's only cowardice and fear and being afraid, so... the only chance of violence we have is to be inquisitive. It looks like a plant, but it clearly has some sort of attention span. Perhaps a strong reactive stimuli. Like me? Maybe it thinks you're its parent, your mother chimes in. Or perhaps it thinks I'm dinner, you wonder. We try to reach out of the plant. As if hypnotized, you slowly and rigidly extend your hand out to the plant. Your hand gets about 6 inches from the bulb before it unsheaths a tiny set of fangs and clamps down on your fingers. With a yelp, you instinctively slap the bulb with your free hand, causing the plant to immediately cease its assault. Whatever sensibility, or lack thereof, you had in appealing to your curiosity has gotten you some sore fingers, but overall, a cat couldn't have done much worse. The plant sets its gaze upon you, newfound fangs out of sight. It will probably sting the next time you wash your hands. Yeah. It's like, my hands sting. The soap is burning from these little cat bites. I should probably kill the plant. Be it the unending leer or the otherworldly ambiance shredding through your paranoid state, or perhaps simply weak mental stamina, you've snapped. You seek to commit ruthless regicide. If the chat has any desire to pick here, this is a good crossroad. It could go any which way. May have grabbed the scissors, grabbed the cleaner bottle, grabbed the pot with your bare hands. All pretty violent in their own way. So I mean, we're accomplishing the golden stream here. Yeah, I'll give that like like 10 more seconds, and then we'll just scissors, bare hands. All right, we'll do scissors this time. We'll do bare hands next time. All right, because the scissors path is quite short. Good thinking, Mom. You praise, receiving the scissors. Though, as opposed to dividing and distributing the garlic bread, you lean over to the plant and snip it at the stem. The head clops at the ground, the timbre of its wail dulling and the amplitude quieting as it dies. You watch until the thing goes silent, like a total Greek murderer. And just like that, the problem is gone from your life. Through one quick decision, you've rendered a future of plant-related decision-making non-existent. Surely, the power you clutch is not to be trifled with. Continue with life as planned. Boom! 10! We got 10 plot resolutions reached total for the stream. Way to go, gang! Yeah, that's the shortest storyline in the game right now. And I think I wrote that one pretty early on. I wrote all these kill ones. I wrote most of these kill ones pretty early on, because that was like my initial... That was where my mind was going. It's like, oh, let's fight a killer plant. So, yeah. That's always fun. Yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and grab the pot with our bare hands this time. Following the same path we did before. So we grab the pot with our bare hands. Rushing to the table, you see nothing but red. You snatch the plant up. your mother spectating your sudden aggression with shock. The plant begins rapidly morphing colors of its entire being, its head rearing back like a toothless cobra ready to strike. You hold it out at arm's length. The whole thing is about as long as the distance between your elbow from your fingertips. Yeah. We got another good vote opportunity here. We can rip it out of the dirt. We can take it outside. We can smash it onto the floor. And each one will lead into its own sort of like meta plant, so to speak. So yeah, if you remember, one of these will alright, first vote was outside. That's what we do. We'll throw it on the ground next time. You furiously rush over to the back sliding glass door to deal with the plant out there. Oh yeah, we're getting to a pretty big arc here. Upon stepping outside, the plant whips itself out of your hands, propelling forward like an impatient cat. By some indiscernible strength, the plant begins to hop, then leap out away from you, headed toward a nearby forest. Astonished, you watch until it has vanished into the darkness, hearing the rhythm of the pot thumping with each pace. A thought now occurs to you. That thing is out into the world. If someone finds it, who knows what could happen? I could have been bigger than the people who filmed Bigfoot. The scientific value alone would create the biggest headline in my lifetime. At worst, I had the most interesting pet thing imaginable. Then another thought. Perhaps it could hurt someone. An unknown terror. And myself at the helm of manslaughter. Okay. Well, nothing crazy happens when you just stay at home. I mean, typically speaking, who knows with this game? I genuinely don't remember what happens if you stay at home, so let us chase after the plant. There's no way I'm letting this thing get away, you think to yourself. Whether to undo some potential catastrophe that lies in its freedom, or rather to settle the score struck up earlier, you take your pursuit. You begin making headway into the forest. The beams of moonlight are terribly obstructed by the trees. Hopefully your cell phone battery can last long enough to light your way. Speaking of which, gotta charge my phone. You've never trekked this wooded grove, and even if you did, it becomes clear how different nature postures itself in the cool darkness. You stumble over roots, crashing through low-standing bushes. The sound you chased did not care to take any sort of clear trail. Let us go deeper into the forest. No light can be seen now, but from your cell phone. Your twisted trail has left you with no sense of where you came from. Roots and branches are no different than tendrils and claws in the dark, yanking and scraping at you as you delve deeper. Despite your relentlessness in pursuance, apparently that's a word. Despite the relentlessness of your pursuit, is what I should have wrote, the sound of the bounding plant still at reach. I'm gonna take a picture of that. Oh, we got some trick-or-treaters at the door. I'm not on trick-or-treat duty though. My roommates are. They're not watching the stream either, so I suppose. I don't feel bad. Gotta do what you gotta do. Alright, let us go deeper into the woods. Deeper. Clearing through a particularly thick patch of brush, you are startled and relieved to find yourself at the edge of the woods. The bokeh of distant lights line the horizon. The plant, which you can finally see, is much further ahead than expected, but you manage to close the gap a good deal now that your path is clear. The trees are now behind you, short yet unkempt grass beneath your feet. The wind stings your cuts and scrapes. The plant is just out of reach. So we can keep steady pace, or we can seize the moment. And with our hyper-violent start, I think we'll just we'll just attempt to leap and grab it. Desperately, you dive toward the plant, with no reservations towards your muddy landing. Your fingertips graze the edges of the ceramic pot, but your poor footing has you falling short. Wiping the mud from your face, you see the floral leapfrog continue to bound away. Let us resume our pursuit. Scrambling to your feet, you reinforce your resolve and resume your pace. You can't let it get away. Striding up a rather slick hill, you finally reach the horizon of lights. Folks who kindly kept their porch lights on give you the liberty to preserve your phone battery. The streets and sidewalks are all dry. The rain is now behind you. Winding through the streets, you marvel at the plant's ability to pick its paths. It is here you are bewildered, the plant bounding into your own front door, which is somehow wide open. Home sweet home. Passing through the front door's threshold, you find the back door still wide open. The plant passes through and vaults the back porch once again. You hastily follow suit, watching as it nears once again toward the dark forest. Psychological. We got deja vu, or this can't be true. Like the unintentional rhyme there. Let us go deeper. Deja vu. Shaking off your uncanny certainty of the surreality that you now seem to exist within, the hunt continues. Perhaps if you were to grab hold of the plant, the cycle will end, and you'll figure it all out. You will figure out why this plant showed up in the first place, why it behaves with such peculiarity, and what it all means for the future. Again, you start into the forest. Moonlight still finds no breach into the woven branches overhead. Your cell phone somehow manages to work despite the rain and mud from earlier. There appears to be no sign of your previous outing into these woods, though it's hard to say if this darkness could impress upon your memory more than any other. You seem to have a better grip on your general navigation, though having some idea of what obstructions are before you. Deeper. The wood opposes you with greater ferocity now than before. It finds your wounds and cuts them deeper, every bruise, every scratch and scrape doubled over. You grit your teeth and endure an unseen assault from within the darkness. The edge of the forest comes with as much a surprise as it did before. Rain pours here still, remarkably without flooding the plain or making the mud much worse. You never got any more dry, and it's here that the cold starts to eat away at your core. All too familiar, the plant is but a few steps ahead. Can't miss our chance now. Don't miss your chance. The plant is just as open before you as your path. You have no intention of squandering this progress. It is with this assuring note of your decision that the pot flips, sending the plant rolling as it returns to the ground. There's no time to react, no saving throw. You attempt to stop much too late, and your feet meet the head of the plant's stem. Now this choice is interesting to me because, oh man, there's another spelling error. Ugh. Get good. Thank goodness it's over, or gah, no, which essentially is representing how you react to the situation. And I think this sheds light on the game's design and how it is meant that every little thing can have a huge impact on the future of a given plot thread. So, like, how you feel about something, it can end up one way, and what you do, it can possibly change something. It could not change anything too, such as the uncertainty of our feelings and choices in life, and how we're not really sure what guides change or the ability to have an effect on something. Yeah, just a little commentary there. Sometimes, yeah. So we're gonna, hyper violent aggression. So we're gonna cry in anguish. Gah, no! You throw yourself to the ground as quick as the sinking feeling in your stomach. Your plan for patience has backfired, persistence in vain. Whether you desire to save the plant for its own sake, or better understand it, it's certain your intentions are as salvageable as the petals crushed into the mud. You contemplate the trouble you'll have to go through to get a car ride home, as filthy as your clothes are, only to realize the lights you've run toward are from your own neighborhood. And you head back to your house, running one direction and looping back. And here we are at that ending. I almost forgot about this GIF. I did forget about it last time, but don't worry. Dun, dun, dun. Oh man, when I do the 100% playthrough stream next month, I will have a soundboard open where I just I click a button and it plays the music and does that. We'll get that going. Yeah, so that was sort of more of like the psychological side of the game. If you guys want, we'll go ahead and we'll do another run of. We can either throw it on the ground this time, or we can explore more paths within that storyline. See what other things might be able to happen. It's up to you guys. I'll give it a few seconds for the vote to go through. We got a strong 2 watching, so I can only assume it's you folks. I don't know why we're not just in a Skype call. I think I'll do this for like another 2 or 3 story paths, and then we'll just call it quits. Just keep it nice and short this time around. Last time we did for like 2 hours. That was fun. But yeah, we'll just keep it nice, short and sweet this time. All right, throw it on the ground. Here we go. So throw it out. Grab the pot to throw it again. Answer the door. What do you want? Give her the plant. Throw the plant at her. Be inquisitive. How should I throw this at you again? Reach out to the plant so you can throw it again. Kill the plant by throwing it. First, we'll grab the pot with our bare hands. Alright, here we go. We're smashing it onto the floor. Another missed period here. There are a bit of formatting errors that I did. I would love to next time, spend a couple weeks editing and testing the game rather than 8 hours. But honestly, I have not even had anyone send me anything they've noticed, so I don't think people really care that much. Quickly, you raise the plant over your head like a mighty blacksmith over an anvil. You swing hard down and release the pot to the ground, the shatter satisfying. Instantaneously, a horde of tiny, skittering, chattering tendrils explode out of the littered shrapnel and soil, scattering themselves out along the floor. They at first appear to be connected to the base of the plant, like roots might be on a typical flora. But as they frantically spread out across the floor, you realize that you just unleashed a hive of insect-like spawn. As they separate from the base of the mother unit, they convene around and devour the lifeless husk. Hundreds in a discordant shrill are before you. Stomp them down! Yes! Let's go! Reflexively, you stamp your feet, attempting to crush the crawlers before they are completely loose. When your feet strike, the shoestring squirmers explode, releasing a small amount of sticky, caramel-colored liquid. Sap, no doubt. You manage to trample a couple dozen of them, but it's truly a pebble into the pond at this point. The writhing things nestle their way under the fridge, into the couch, in every forgotten corner, and beneath every doorway. You stand in a pile of alien plant corpses, and make great efforts to lift your shoes from their syrupy innards. You look over at your mom. Something's not quite right about her, though. She appears stoic. She does not seem to have a reaction to the insanity of what just happened. You make eye contact, and her lack of expression is sharply discomforting. You okay, Mom? Or, you okay, Mom? How unfortunate of this to have occurred. Shall we resume our meal? She monotonically replies. What an underwhelmingly generic response to come from such a wildly bizarre event. Got another error there. Sorry, guys. What an underwhelmingly generic response to come from such a wildly bizarre event. Her cold gaze remains throughout the rest of the night as you finish your food, and her movements are rigid and precise. Your further attempts at conversation are met with unemotional, purely informative responses. Sure, the shock from the event would have put you both in weird mental states, but she seems to have changed her entire verbiage. As opposed to calling you by name, she calls you child. In fact, when you reference anything, man, this is some good spaghetti, her response is explicitly nonspecific. The meal is substantial. Gotta differentiate. I'm gonna turn. I don't know how the sound is on the stream. I'm gonna turn the music up a little bit. If it gets too loud, just let me know. Okie doke. Eventually, you can no longer handle her silent stare and let her know that you're going to bed. I understand, she replies. So you should probably go home, you add. I understand, she repeats. She then rises from the chair and robotically marches toward the front door. With her back turned, you see a root from earlier leeching on the back of her skull. She opens the door to leave. Andrew Brand, hey! Thanks for your feedback. Glad it sounds good. Oh yeah. Totally ignored the plot point. Sorry. Not very dramatic of me. With her back turned, you see a root from earlier leeching on the back of her skull. She opens the door to leave. Let's try to get this thing off, shall we? You spare not a second running over to tear that fiend from her. Your hands take hold and your mother grabs your wrist with extraordinary strength. If you damage the organ, biological function will cease to continue. Is your desire to harm the organ the result of misunderstanding or misanthropy? It is deeply shocking to hear these words. She knows that thing is attached to her, and she is threatening you in order to protect it. Her grip increases, so much so that you're forced to let go. Misunderstanding, so it appears, she remarks, though you did not utter a response. Her march continues, leaving your car and heading down the street. Standing bewildered and alone on the sidewalk, you ponder the circumstance. Is my mom being controlled by that thing? You think to yourself. It is clear that her entire personality was lacking after those things appeared. And that was definitely one of them attached to her head. The premise is preposterous, but your concern is tumultuous in every corner of your inner dialogue. You even question if you're dreaming. With thoughts more scrambled than ever, you return inside and start for bed. though sleep finds itself impossible to find. Dawn approaches. You watch the sunrise as you drive your mother's car over to her house. Luckily, she left the keys during her body-snatched stupor, saving you the hour walk you would have taken otherwise. As you pull it into the driveway, you find an older neighbor lady walking over to greet you. You get out of the car and she says, "Well, that's not who I expected. I was just about to meet up with your mom for an early morning walk. What are you doing here?" No, it is not the mom from The Binding of Isaac. Not in spirit, or she was not an inspiration for this character at all. But, yeah. Popular moms in video games. What are they? Mom from The Binding of Isaac. I guess Gravemind kind of counts, right? Halo. Yeah. Feel free to post your popular moms in video games down in the chat. What's the lady's name from Final Fantasy VII? Like starts with a J. Yeah. Anyways, let's respond to this old lady here. Leave here, quick. You quickly and emotionally inform her of the situation, urging her to get as far away as possible and to not call the police for fear they'd hurt her. The old lady, while bewildered, seems to believe you. "This is all pretty loony to hear from you, young'un. I'm coming with you to see through this, though." You have a bit of a desperate plead with her not to come with, but between her speeches of neighborly responsibility and aversion to letting it go and not calling the police, you give up the ghost and allow her to come along. No time to waste. Walk into the house. The mom from Life is Strange. Nice. Yeah, I mean, that is actually pretty good. For some reason when you said that, or when I read that, I thought, like, are there more than one moms? But we all know which mom we're thinking of. Oh yeah, Goat Mom from Undertale. The absence of Ness's mom in Earthbound is pretty hilarious. Yeah. Alright, here we go. No time to waste. Your mother stands idly in the center of the living room, perfect posture and blank stare. The neighbor lady waves her hand and walks on by into the kitchen. Your mother appears to have no response to either of your presence. You call her name and try to engage her, but she continues to gaze forward. The root is still attached, and is about as long as one of your arms. You need to find out more about the root, or at least solicit a response. Find a knife in the kitchen or talk to the root directly. Let's see. Let's try to poke and prod a little more. "What are you doing to my mom?" You bark. We bark it. Okay. "What are you doing to my mom?" She remains silent. "Please answer me!" You shout. Nothing. "I demand to know!" Silence. You're becoming desperate for a response. You walk around your mother and face the root as if it had any sensory perception of its own. "Damaging the organ would cease biological function, eh? It'd be a shame if my misunderstanding caused any. Sure were quick to respond last night. Wait, you sure were quick to respond last night to my mistake. I wonder if there's any truth to that." Your blood boils. Grab at the root. I don't know why the knife option is not available. That seems like a glitch. I'll take a picture. You successfully grip the root. Your mother reacts aptly to this, and you are tackled to the ground. You manage to cry for help amid the struggle, but it seems the neighbor lady in the kitchen has taken initiative. The police bust through the door, guns drawn. At this point, you're quite close to strangulation. The officers manage to pull her off you, though it does not go well for them. The root splits apart into several parts like a hydra. A bulb appears at the end of each head, much like the original plant you saw at home. Each bulb explodes open to reveal drill-like teeth, which are plunged into the skulls of each surrounding officer. They struggle only for a few seconds, then awkwardly recalibrate their postures until perfection, as your mother stands there. Your mother and 4 police officers are connected by a single giant root, looming in total silence. It would be impossible to overtake them through strength alone, and even then what? You sought to gain answers, but the fear that your mother has lost all semblance of humanity seems to be the state of reality. It very well may be that the cold, bare conversation that you had last night before she left would be the last words you hear from her. You feel surging waves of fear and regret for the idea that you could have intervened or protected her better. You flop between guilt and anger that you never took on the burden yourself. And now, before you stand the husks of 5 innocent people, all over an overreaction to a stupid plan. In the center of the 5 drones, a hydra head flails about, hissing and whirring in an all too familiar way. The neighbor lady finally peeks her head out of the kitchen to see you on the ground, the drones and the head. Whimpering, she begins to tiptoe through the room and toward the door, no doubt to escape. The head begins wiggling itself toward her as she nears the group, blocking her path. She soon will make 6. You stand up. Well, seeing as it overtook all those officers with guns, we should probably arm ourselves. Just loosely grabbing at it, we won't even have a chance. At least that's my thought process. You bolt past the group and grab a knife off the block from the kitchen. Returning, you find the old woman just as you expected. A 7th head is emerging from the center of the root web. Sirens wail in the distance. The 2 evils await your discernment. Dang. Okay. Let us sever the web. We won't go down without a fight. Maintaining distance from the center of the web where the 7th hydra emerges, you walk over to your mother. Trembling, you cut the root from her head. If nothing else, to spare her from this cruel enslavement. As her body falls to the ground, the group seizes you. There is no escape from this hell. Let's go to the epilogue. It was a few weeks that the world watched through their screens as The Mob grew. The stories weren't broadcast or published by anything reputable until the mob traveled into malls and consumed people by the dozens. The suburbs nearby caught on quick through word of mouth and made ghost towns once the National Guard announced their plan to firebomb the crowd. By then, hundreds had amassed, herding through city streets, chasing down anyone in sight and absorbing them. The only reason they could think it survived the firebombing speculates that each person's knowledge is supplied to the collective consciousness of the horde. Even when it was considered that the mob might be intelligent, the US government continued to censor all online printed reports of its existence. It wasn't until pods of intercontinental mobs were confirmed around the world that the flood of talk shows, newspapers, and official state of emergency notices were released. The growth was slow at first for the original mob, but after the first couple years, estimates of over 100,000 casualties were the only officially released statistics. Everyone knew that chunks had broken off and spread to different regions within the first 14 months. School lockdowns were daily, and not always successful either. The mob knew no means of communication, no distinction to who it absorbed, and no signs of penetrability. the first atomic strike since World War II had been approved for surgical eradication of the mobs in transit through rural regions. Economic collapses rumored in pop cultural apocalypse shows are real. All shall be one. Yeah. Oh yeah. The GIF. Dun dun dun. Oh man. That is one of my personal faves in this. There's another one in the Spider storyline that is actually really close to the mob. We're just a couple different reactions away from getting it that I'm a big fan of. Yeah, and I was kind of hoping that we would get to that one. Maybe let's see. I did say about half an hour ago. So maybe we'll do 2 more and then we'll call it good. If anyone has any requests for a type of oh shoot, okay, I know what we're gonna do. Yeah, if you have requests, I'm open to hearing them. I'm gonna do one more that kind of reveals the mob and like the lore behind it, I suppose. As well, it's kind of an alternate take on the mob, but it at the same time it reveals more of what it actually is. And it's probably my personal favorite thing in the. You request 10 more storylines. Are you being serious about that? Because I'll do it if you're interested. I think it's fun. I might, maybe we can work something out. Like, we could do it on stream. I'd be happy to just go into a Skype call with you guys and do that. But yeah, we got 3 watching. It's enough for me to do 10 more storylines. But I need to know if you're serious about it. So right now I'm sticking with 2. If we get the mobs are asking for more, we'll do more. Give the people what they want, as I always say. I don't know if I ever said that. Okay, so let's find out more about the mob, or those little creatures that make that happen. For those of you who have not read these little bits, I'll read them the next time that we are going through. I just am trying to get over here quick. You can do some alternate takes here. There's some paths that it's really popular in AAA choose your own style adventure games, such as the Telltale games, where you'll have a path that it will like kind of branch out, but then they'll convene at a certain point. And my storylines do that sometimes. In the beginning, they do that, and they have like, I would say, 4 or 5 particular major nodes where it will branch out into certain stories that you can choose. But sometimes you'll have a situation where no matter what you pick, you'll end up at the same point. And I usually just do that to kind of mix things up, or to give a little bit of variety, or to give value to player agency, because how you interpret and you know, like, so option A and option B might be they might lead to the same conclusion, but the interpretation of the experience, I think, is a powerful way to introduce agency and variety, even when you're just making choices. The Walking Dead games, the Telltale Walking Dead games, were met with a lot of criticism for not allowing you to have any real choice in the game. Life is Strange didn't get that sort of flack simply because they did two things different. Well, okay, actually, they did one thing really that's hugely different than the Telltale games. But they had the okay. So there's two major factors at play though. Is that they released after The Walking Dead, so everyone knew what they were getting into when they were playing Life is Strange in regards to, you know, temporary branching in storylines. I'm not saying Life is Strange is better or worse. I'm not saying the Telltale games are any different. I'm just comparing the two. So Life is Strange was not subject to the criticism because Telltale took all that criticism first. And so they kind of established the genre, at least in popular form, and paved the way. So Life is Strange got off easy on that. But Life is Strange is this really cool thing where you have these little side quests that you can do throughout the game, and basically what that looks like is, water the plant, make sure you keep the plant alive. How that ends up will not impact the story in such a way that you'll have like a different ending, but it does like interpret. It has like a little motif that adds to your experience, and everyone, at least like it became a huge point of conversation in the conversations I've had with my friends. Like, you water the plant. Oh, did you water the plant? I watered the plant. No, I killed the plant. Like, it impacted our experience in such a. And there are other side quests that are, I think, more impactful than that one. But yeah, it's just they do this really cool thing to shake it up and make the experience more personal by having more varying degrees of difference. So you could get a room of 10 people who play Life is Strange, and you probably, I don't know if this is a real statistic, I'm just speculating, but if you got 10 people together who played Life is Strange, you would not have them all have made the same choices, and you would not have them all have had the same side quest completion degree. Like, maybe they wouldn't all have completed the side quests the same, which is really interesting. So yeah, having a little variation in choice-based games, just I don't know if it necessarily makes it more replayable, but it does add to the variety of different experience, and it allows you to create conversation and really dig into what the game is trying to deliver. The Walking Dead, its variety is more on an emotional level, where it's like you're basically, every Walking Dead game, you're building up your character and how they choose to react to the world. Life is Strange does this too, but then it transfers on into the next season. So the choices that you make affect other people in the other games, and their personalities. You ultimately have to live with your consequences for your life, and it just creates a very reflective experience as opposed to like a cinematic plot centric discussion. It creates more of a reflective one. So that's all I have to say about that little little detour there. Just read the Life is all I'm saying, Andrew LeGroux here says, all I'm saying is Life is Strange outsold the Ceramic Uncertainty. And you know what? I haven't seen Life is Strange's numbers, but you're probably right. You're probably right. Alright, Game Design Rants FTW for the win, in case you didn't know. Alright, so let's review. Thanks for catering to my little segue. We'll get back into the story. So, you look over at your mom. Something's not quite right about her, though. She appears stoic. She does not seem to have a reaction to the insanity of what just happened. You make eye contact, and her lack of expression is sharply discomforting. And you're afraid of spiders? For those new to the stream, that's my voice for the protagonist. How unfortunate for this to have occurred. Shall we resume our meal? She monotonically replies. What an underwhelmingly generic response to come from such a wildly bizarre event. Her cold gaze remains throughout the rest of the night as you finish your food, and her movements are rigid and precise. Your further attempts at conversation are met with unemotional, purely informative responses. Sure, the shock of the event would have put you both in weird mental states, but she seems to have changed her entire verbiage. As opposed to calling you by name, she calls you child. Wait a second. This is the same as the last thing! Look at this! You see this? They're the same. Child, monotonic. They're the same. What kind of... This isn't even a branching path, Fallon. What kind of writer are you? You're just... You put two responses here, and they lead to the same thing. Is that a glitch? Were you being lazy? Well, to that, I reply, no, it was intentional, for creative purposes. I could have had a, different way for her to respond, but the thing is that the reaction here, you okay, Mom? And you're afraid of spiders? One is like being direct and sympathetic, the other one is like sarcastic, like trying to crack a joke to shed light on the situation, but who's responding is so cut and dry. It's the entity's personality makes it so that that's just how it would respond. So I thought, hey, I should just keep it the same instead of have a slightly different reaction. And yeah, so that was my intention in that situation. Oh yeah. Eventually you can no longer handle her silent stare, and let her know that you're going to bed. I understand, she replies. So you should probably go home, you add. I understand, she repeats. She then rises from the chair and robotically marches toward the front door to leave. With her back turned, you see a root from earlier leeching on the back of her skull. She opens the door to leave. Call her. One of those things is on you! You shout. She makes no effort to acknowledge your cry and is beyond sight at this point. What a strange way to end the night. Such a vivid hallucination. Surely her lack of response indicated how over the drama she was for the night. For a moment you even ponder if the entire incident in question stemmed from a hallucination and you were just being crazy. This is quickly denied as you step out of your chair and into the residual gunk from the worms you crushed earlier. What then of the hallucination? All these thoughts keep you up through the night, and the nightmares are vicious. Hopefully it will all be sorted out tomorrow. Let's go to tomorrow. You awaken quite early and find yourself compelled to walk to your mother's and figure things out. As you step out the door, you see her car parked alongside the road. She didn't take it home. Though the walk back isn't too long, your mother revels in the convenience of a quick drive back and forth from your houses. Why didn't she last night? You grab a spare key from the inside of your room and drive it over to return it, as well as provide a means to dig deeper into her attitude the night before. The entire 3 minutes you drove, the sun burnt purple, blue, and red into your eyes, but you were thankful for the nice weather. You walk inside without knocking to find your mother and a neighbor lady standing side by side by an open window, quietly staring. Adding to the uncanniness of the scene, you find that they are connected at the back of their heads by a single large root. The root hangs low to the floor in a U shape. It has grown quite a bit in length and thickness. What you saw the day before, indeed, was no hallucination. "Mom, what is happening?" The pair simultaneously rotate opposite of one another to face you. "We are taking in the sunlight, child," she responds, retaining the same monotone as she did last night. "The thing on your heads, do you realize what that is?" "The beginning of total uniformity across living organisms," they reply in unison. You are speechless. "It is in the mutual interest of all beings bound by the laws of survival and the nature of entropy to work in cooperation, as opposed to competition. The balance among species has long been functional, but only so. The imbalance is due to the lack of optimization that competition brings in regards to the resources of the world. Some living entities take more than they need, and others are left without enough. Should this imbalance persist, dominance among a few small groups of organisms shall rise, then perish as a result of total exhaustion of resources. Plants and fungi, as they are called, have long understood the great benefits of cooperation and optimization of resource distribution by means of a global symbiotic network beneath the surface of the planet. The optimization has been gradually expanding out toward organisms that historically maintain autonomy. When the connection is made, all organisms will share the resources, those being nutrients, temperature, shelter, and the like, and consume automatically based on their exact need. To be one? Your perception of the network implies intent, which is entirely irrelevant to optimization. Failure to understand the function of the network is a shortcoming of what is referred to as the human species. While incredibly young, this group is most fatal to the competitive order of the majority of the natural world has functioned on. Whether the connection to an organism is voluntary or not, submission is inevitable and optimization is absolute. It could be possible that inclusion to the network might be something humans and less emotionally complex organisms could be convicted to embrace, but due to the all-encompassing growth and certitude of the network, efficiency of its progress is a non-issue. Since it is a non-issue, the explanation now given to you is purely an arbitrary one delivered from the chemical connection between yourself and the mother unit. With the fusion of all life, inconsequential anomalies are produced. Language and emotions are among the anomalous. The sheer totality of the message is unbearable. Everything within you rebels against the idea that your free will, with the presentation of this very knowledge, could be taken away from you. It has been, perhaps, already gone, or never to have existed if the plan was truly in motion for as long as they suggest. To dream, to create, to hurt, to love, to know. What does it all matter if the network absorbs it all? You nearly beg the question, what do I do? But if what they, rather, all have spoken is true, perhaps nothing. Who are you to challenge this inconsequential God? Dun, dun, dun. That's why I wanted to bring you to this. I love that one. I'm really proud of that piece right there. I mean, just from a personal preference standpoint and just like how it's all structured, I just really like it. And then especially how the commentaries that it brings in regards to free will and things like that. I'm just a huge fan of that sort of thing, so I I'm just really stoked on it. Yeah, I think it's a really interesting example of like if we were presented with the idea that something was planning to take us over, like how consequential would our free will be? It's all about what you put value into or whatever, but in the grand scheme of things, yeah, it's basically a Rick and Morty episode. I don't know. I've seen 2 episodes of Rick and Morty, so I can't give a lot of input on that regard, but sure. Yeah. So another thing I wanted to point out, I wanted to keep it going for the sake of the flow. So in this part where you have a reply to ask the question to be one or to invade all, no matter which question you pick, the answer is to just the fact that you asked the question. That plot is basically a Rick and Morty episode. Nice. If you have the name of that episode, I'd be interested to see it, because I think that's always interesting to me. Yeah. The 2 episodes that I saw, I just saw the first 2 episodes, which was like the one where they're smuggling the fruit, and the other one where the dogs are like taking over the world, and then they have to go into the dreams of all the people. But they were good. I think I would enjoy that show. I honestly don't. It's just not something I would seek out on my own. I like to enjoy comedy with other people, so I don't typically watch it by myself. The only exception to that was The Office and Parks and Rec. But yeah. But if Rick and Morty is that thoughtful consistently, then I definitely would want to watch with other people so that I can talk to them about it because that's how I like to digest that sort of thing. Just said stream resumed. The stream is continuing. I don't know if that means that it stopped streaming at one point. Yeah, I shrunk the gopher thing, okay? I shrunk it. There you go. Alright, we got one more left in us. Let's give it off to the finale. Completely different story path. We won't do anything to spiders or cutting it. We're gonna try and kill it again. And for posterity's sake, I will read through these parts, but I am gonna do the abridged version until we get to new content. So, bottoms up, save game for some reason. Here we go. Rise and shine. It's 8:30, but there's a plant on the thing. What do? Let's throw it out. You reach out to throw it, but there's a plant in the dirt. Oh my gosh. I wonder how Team 4-Star would abridge this game. Ideas for a future video. Please don't let me forget that. Is having someone narrate an abridged version of the game. Grab the pot. Ding dong. Oh, there's someone here. What the heck? Answer the door. It's Mom. She has cookies. You're carrying the plant. That's weird. Let's try to talk about it. You dumbly explain the plant, and she's most, she believes your deception has worked. Let's talk about it over dinner. Only if you let me make it, she replies. You and I both know if we let you cook, it'll be chai ramen for dinner. Success. Pot of boiling water, proving as a attention device. I have no idea where this came from. Let's get scared a bit.
I think it doesn't like me. I think it's watching me.
It doesn't have eyes, your mother rebuts.
It doesn't need them.
Bam. A grotesque and sharp sizzling overcomes your auditory senses, panic exaggerating the shrill to a deafening roar of the malevolent. You look behind and realize the tomato sauce is boiled over onto the stove. Dyslexia.
Yeesh! I'll get it, Mom.
You call out. You reach under the sink cupboard, thumbing through the clutter to grab the supplies. Cleaning supplies. Let's grab water. And then we'll try to feed the plant a bite of spaghetti after we clean up the mess. Share our food. You hover the neatly twirled angel hair about the bulb's opening, awaiting a reaction. The plant seems to take notice of you doing so at first. You nudge it with the fork, then with your free hand, to reach to pry its mouth open. The jaws snap down quick, and you feel a painful yet harmless pinch, causing you to jump back in surprise. Its rigid rows of teeth are now so clearly apparent. Its continual hum has gained a slight context of malcontent. Let's kill the plant. Let's kill the plant with our bare hands. So I do think that we smash it on the floor. How we react to it. We don't try to resist the skittering, chattering tendrils which have exploded out onto the floor. So yeah, just like a big pile. That's terrifying. Let's get out of here. And from here I will read verbatim. Because I'm not clever enough to do a funny abridged. But I'm sure someone out there is. Man, here we go. Thanks for watching, guys. The unspoken correlation between the horror before you and entomophobia, perhaps more specifically arachnophobia, drives you toward the front door. You find it already wide open. Surely your mother's instincts are like that of your own. You only turn back to look at the house as you make it across the street. Your mind is racing. Do I call the police? Do I call animal control, botany control, and exterminator? Regardless of who you should contact, but how, you left your phone inside. Let us seek the help of our neighbors. Yesterday we did not seek the help of our neighbors, and we ended up running for our lives. And it was futile. Here we go. You choose to overcome your awkward social disposition, knowing that this weirdness will probably grow exponentially if you don't handle it now. You walk to the front porch of the nicest looking house in eyesight and knock. With no initial answer, your impatience compels you to knock again. The door opens to a tall, burly man covered in tattoos of bitterness. What do you want? His scowl penetrating to the core of you. Oh man. Alright. This character has a lot of potential. I just need to pick the right answers. Here we go, I guess.
I need to use your phone?
The man lets out a sigh of discontent. And yawn.
Wait here.
He shuts the door, You hear some cursing from the other side of the door. The door opens, and he slaps a large wireless landline into your hand. Make it quick. I got beer to drink and TV to watch. You nod in agreement and gratitude, but he shuts the door in your face again. Despite the fact that it's sort of late, you can't shake the rude vibe that guy put on you. Nevertheless, phone acquired, mission accomplished. Now the hard part. Who to call? Alright, chat. Who do we call? Do we dial 911 or do we call your mom? It becomes readily apparent that you haven't memorized the phone number in at least 10 years. You think to ask the man for a phone book, but you don't want to blow the progress he made just acquiring a phone. Surely there are some numbers you remember. The dial tone drones. What do you guys think? We call the caps? Call mom. Alright, we call mom. Reciting the numbers and cadences, you manage to successfully dial your mom on the phone. Ring. Ring. Hello? She sounds panicked. Mom, it's me. Oh, thank the Lord. Listen, honey, I called an exterminator for you. They should be there any second. I'm paying extras since it's so late. So make sure you do what you can to help them out. They charge by the half hour. You chat out the rest of the small details about you fleeing from your home as well, and where she went, then hang up. You return the phone to the man aside. He doesn't respond when you thank him with anything more than a nod and shut the door on the way out. You sit on the curb outside until the exterminator arrives. A van with the classic giant fake bug on top parks outside your home. 2 suited up middle-aged men walk out to your doorstep and knock. It knocks. That's an interesting sentence. I might review that later. Let's meet them. So I think we did fail to befriend that dude. I'm pretty sure we failed to do that. That is one of my favorite. That's my favorite relationship in this game, is that you quickly yet inelegantly stride over to the exterminators.
My apologies. It got so bad in there I couldn't be around them anymore.
You tell them.
Well then I'm glad we're working overtime to help someone who can really use it,
replied the kind gray mustache man. Oh, okay. I base this character on someone, so I don't know if I can do the voice.
Well, then I'm glad we're working overtime to help someone out who could really use it,
replied the kind gray mustached man.
I'm John, and this is my son, Kellen.
Kellen, who couldn't be older than 17, eagerly shakes your hand, keeping an almost comically stern expression all the time. Clearly, these two take the job seriously, and you're quite thankful for that. You wait for a bit while the exterminators grab gear from the van that they believe will suit the problem you described to them. John, though unsure of exactly what you meant by thousands of sentient roots that burst forth from a plant you've never seen before, he felt that treating the situation as a high severity infestation, a rare classification usually only given to hoarder dens, and that they needed to take a look for themselves to grab samples and determine a fumigation method. Okay, sidebar. Whenever I'm reading a book and they throw in some parentheses in the middle, which happens a lot, and I'm fine with it, it does kind of like break up the flow of reading to me, but I do appreciate the little extra commentary, so that's why as a writer I include it in my own stuff. So what I do is I go back and reread the sentence, and I read it without the parentheses, and yeah, that way I can get what the sentence is trying to say. So he felt that treating the situation as a high severity infestation, and that they needed to take a look for themselves to grab samples and determine a fumigation method. Like, it just flows a little better. They return to the door, fully decked out in suits that look ready for the apocalypse. Strapped to both their backs are giant containers of green liquid that read, "Caution! Large vermin poison!" in yellow and black. They open the door, walk inside, and close it behind them. Waiting. Let's see. Man, I gotta restart the music here soon. I'll just put it on loop. There we go. After about 15 minutes, Kellen returns from inside your home. He carries the same stern professional look he did when he arrived, but now he speaks.
Well, it's not looking too good in there. The roots, as you called them, are nearly everywhere in the house. They seem to have reproduced faster than any pest I've ever seen. Must have been a couple more eggs that hatched shortly after the one you encountered. They've attached themselves to just about every surface visible in there, like ticks. They seem entirely unresponsive to any poking and prodding. We wanted to make sure we have your permission before going further with any work. Taking one of the vermin specimen to sample and understand the most efficient way to kill them without damage to your house is the only way, but they're really locked down. Grabbing one will probably do damage to whatever surface it's attached to. Though if you're fine with it, we could start as early as tonight. We do all our field work out of the van, and once the field work is done, we can give you an estimation on fumigation.
Oh man, I like that's the voice that my mind picked. Just this prepubescent, like, southern kid. I like how everyone in this game so far has been southern that I voiced except for the main character. It's just like my go-to. Though you are concerned with the fact that they still have not identified these pests, the plan eases the stresses of your mind. You give them permission, hoping your mother fronts whatever charges might come up.
Alright, I'll give Dad or John the green light,
Kellen stammers. He then straightens his posture, undoubtedly to reaffirm his discipline. He heads inside. What a cute kid. Dang, I messed that sentence up. Like Jacob's words, British. I don't know. Jacob's latest D&D character, where he just describes the accent as foreign, he like bounces back and forth between like Indian, like Jewish, just like then like a more general Middle Eastern sort of thing, then like kind of Transylvanian. It's kind of hilarious. Yeah, here we go. It's not more than 5 minutes. I think that everyone has like a go-to like voice, and then, you know, if they're trying to voice something that's a little more specific, they do that, or at least they try to. But for people like myself or Jacob, when we try to do voices, it just kind of reverts back to what we're most comfortable with when pretending to do another voice. So, alright, here we go. It's not more than 5 minutes until the door swings open. Everything happens so fast. John dives out the door and scurries toward the lawn. A wave of roots is quick on the chase. Kellen stumbles out of the house, loses balance, and topples over, buried under the stampede.
Throw it back, Dad!
Kellen pleads. Ugh, I don't want to laugh during that, but that was just kind of funny.
Throw it back, Dad!
Kellen pleads, struggling to pull himself up. Upon a closer look, you can see John is holding one of the roots tight like a football.
I won't give these bastards a thing,
he rebuts.
We're the alpha, Kellen. Act like it.
You're shocked to see how the infestation has grown, but even more so that the horde so relentlessly pursues John as he runs and weaves away. He jukes the lead trail out around the van, then circles back to the lawn. Kellen, who is completely ignored by the roots, manages to get out from under the charge. He fiddles with the poison spray nozzle and begins a wide spread on the roots. As the poison falls, the affected slow their pursuit until they freeze in mid-motion like a rapid rigor mortis. The earthy brown fades to a more pale gray. This color gives you the idea that they are turning to statues. Despite the work Kellen has been doing to slow them down, the roots seem to be gaining on tired old John. He circles around the van a couple more times, then in an effort to break the chase, he grabs the van's slider door and tugs hard. The pursuing roots finally catch him and begin crawling over him, each one latching onto any spot they can. John moves back toward the yard, flailing and calling out to Kevin.
Son, do what you gotta do.
Or, son, you gotta do something. I don't know why I read that. Let's do what you gotta do. Kellen seems quite nervous.
Do what?
He responds.
Make a decision.
As you open your mouth to call out to them, the decision's made. Kellen stops the flooding roots cold with the poison. Their pile solidifies, appearing to be a single solid object of itself. Still they climb until John is no longer visible underneath the covering layers of roots. He trudges aimlessly, their weight making it difficult for him to have any mobility. If he was attempting any sort of communication, it would be impossible to hear under the blanket of roots wrapped around him. Hundreds are still unendingly swarming from behind him. Through the darkness, from your angle, you can make out the outline of a human figure where John struggles, hardly able to stay standing. Kellen seems not to make this distinction and sprays the massive stack down with the poison, including the part his father makes up the stack. As the roots freeze and the limited mobility John had is taken from him, you can see an outstretched hand, completely covered in roots, extend until the color drains from the roots surrounding. When the poison is set in on John's encasement, the remaining mobile roots scatter randomly away from the yard, completely disappearing from sight.
John! John! Dad!
Kellen calls for his father amidst the petrified mound. You rush over to the hand and brush off the loose roots atop John. They are quite heavy, though they did not seem more dense than shoestrings when they were living. Could they have had a reaction with the poison to make them heavy and stone-like? That would mean... Kellen grabs the outstretched hand. He looks into the unblinking eyes of his petrified father. He puts his ear up to his face.
Dad, say something. He's breathing.
No matter their efforts, they could not break John from his cocoon. No hammer could break the roots, no blade could cut through them, no heat could melt them away. Kellen finally left his father's side a few days after he could no longer hear him breathing. During his vigil, he worked through the hysteria of loss. He apologized, blamed, and begged at the statue about the decision he made, and how he wished his father had never put him in that position. He wanted to think like a leader, with cunning and responsiveness. He wanted to save his father and make him proud all at once. Regret only reflected the depth of value Kellen had for his dad. John's deathbed became a phenomenon observed by scientists and art critics alike. Over time, it seemed the casing only became more dense. By the time the local government came to remove the sarcophagus, they found it immutable. At first, they thought it was bound to the ground with the same strength, but the weight was too great for even an industrial crane to lift. Even if they were to lift it, the concentrated weight would be incredibly difficult to transport. And to where would it go? As the story spread, and people traveled to study the anomaly, to facetiously grieve and admire as the powerful art piece only chaos and nature could provide. As years passed and the density grew, the tombs sank slowly into the ground. As the progression became clear that the world would soon lose petrified John, media attention swarmed once again. Soon even the hand that remains outstretched from the ground will be taken away by the law of gravity. Heavy. Dun, dun, dun. Oh no! The edit scene button wasn't triggered. Well, there's that one. That's actually not the one I wanted to do. I wanted to do the one where you befriend the guy that you get the phone from. But, yeah. There's that one. There is all the ones I said I would do. So, yeah, if you want to befriend the guy and see where it goes, I guess you just gotta do it yourself, you know? Kill the plant, smash it on the ground, don't stomp it down, but run. And then when you talk to your neighbor, I think maybe you grab weed killer, or you pick the other decision that was not, can I use your phone? And yeah, you'll get to figure out what the guy does, and there's like a pretty, it's just like kind of cheesy, intentionally so, but like it's one of the only stories that has like a real feel good ending to it if you do it right. And yeah, I mean, I guess it's best for our Halloween stream that we didn't end it on that note, because, you know, Halloween, horror, spooky, scary, that sort of thing. So we want to end it on something dreary and dark, and with not a lot to be uplifted by. Maybe that's the real scary thing, is not having hope. Maybe. Hope you find hope on this dark Halloween night. Yeah. Thanks so much, you guys, for watching the stream. Bring my face up bigger here. Yeah, it's been really fun to do this. I am gonna try really hard to make this November stream, the 100% completion stream, pretty cool. I want to have people help me read it. I would like to do more efficient crowd participation sort of things, and I'm gonna promote it a lot more. This one was kind of like, you know, yet last time it was, I promoted the day before, day of, something like that, and kind of got friends here and there to pop in. Thankfully, got my friends supporting, watching straight through. I've got that. Yesterday was consistently 3 watching. I never dropped below that. Today hasn't dropped below 2. I know my homies are out there keeping it real, as the kids say. And yeah, I genuinely appreciate you guys watching. Yeah, we'll be doing that 100% stream on November 19th. It's gonna start around 5 p.m. I believe, Pacific time, and then we will, I think the plan is to just play it all the way through, because the next day I have church and I can't not go to that, so and usually people hang out all through the night, so unless I get people to be like, hey, yeah, from church to help read it, I don't think I'll be streaming on the 20th, which is actually the Ceramic Uncertainty's birthday. And yeah, there is also the chance that like no one will want to watch the stream, and then I just don't do it, because I'm not really into streaming to nobody. As long as there's one person, I will do it. But were 0 people, I probably won't. So, yeah, I mean, keep marking on your calendars. I don't know. I think it'll be a really fun time. Yeah. We didn't make any other Patreon goals, so unfortunately we'll have to wait till next year to see if we can get that Halloween skin of Ceramic Uncertainty. Yeah, the other goals were to get the version 1.2 update where we fix spelling errors and add a enhanced progression system where actually your choices, once you have done them once, like you get to a plot resolution once, and you've done all the possible paths to get to it, they will actually disappear and you won't get that option anymore. So then you really feel like you're, like, oh, I've already done this, so it's gone. So that means there's only, it like kind of directs you, so you're not rereading as much, and it makes exploration a little more viable. So, yeah, if we can get 3 or 4 patrons next time on November 19th, I will totally put in the work to make that a reality. Yeah, and then the Halloween, that playing Outlast 2 as a stream, that was exclusive to this Halloween thing, so no matter how many patrons I get, I'm not gonna do that. Maybe next year, again with the skin. I really wanted to make the Ceramic Uncertainty Halloween skin, but I gotta stay true to my word and not do it with the gold skin beds. Let's see. You've been involved in making a game called Boogeyman. I never knew that you were a game developer, Andrew. Game sounds scary. Oh, dang. This is like, there's the Boogeyman in your house sort of thing. That's pretty freaking scary. It looks beautiful. Wow. Like the graphics look really nice and stylized. I'm just, yeah, I don't know if I'll be playing that. Maybe that could be a patron incentive for next year's Halloween stream if I do one. Yeah, well, again, thanks for watching. There will be an archive of this stream. There was an archive of yesterday's stream. I think this one went a lot smoother. I think the reading was better. And we did do less storylines, but I just felt like this one was overall a little more quality. And we have music in this one. Speaking of music, I'm going to put a link down in the description of the video. Or actually, it's already there. So if you go to listen to my music, everyday.bandcamp.com, I'm going to be uploading the ambient songs tonight, and you'll be able to download those for free. As a thank you for meeting our Patreon goal of getting a patron during the stream. Shout out to Jacob White for doing that. Really appreciate it. Jacob's a really good friend of mine. And yeah, if you feel so inclined to look at my Patreon, I make music and I make art and I make games for a living. It's my only source of income. So what you see on the Patreon is how much money I make a month, and every dollar, a little bit, like, helps a lot. Not just in the sense that, like, financially it allows me to pay bills and things like but in the sense that when you engage with that, you're telling me, Fallon, I care about what you do as an artist, and I want to be engaged with your work. And I like that supports me in a huge way, like morally, and it's like what I want to do with my art. So it's like you're being a part of achieving that goal, to communicate with others through art. I believe that art is communication. So I think it's a very powerful way to do that. Yeah, so like games, music, I write a lot. I'm going to be releasing like 2 or 3 albums next year. One that's just needs to be mixed. Another one I'm writing right now, and the other one is just like phone demos, but in its current state. But we'll have that to look forward to. I would love to work on more games next year, whatever that looks like, finding a team, that sort of thing. I'll also be touring out to the Midwest and the East Coast during late spring, early summer, so that'll be fun. In the meantime, I'm just here in Olympia, just hanging out, doing the thing, trying to make music and be a person. So, Jay, you're back. We were just finishing up the stream. If you want, I can do another storyline that I wanted to do and didn't get to. Call the Inquisition. Call it like as in call it off, or like beckon it. bring my face back up. Yeah, for Halloween month, because I celebrate Halloween all month, I dyed my hair Neapolitan as too, so it's pink, blonde, and then this is my natural hair color. And so yeah, I dressed up as ice cream this year. Big Halloween's my favorite holiday. It's the only holiday I really like. Christmas is alright if you have a family that like really values Christmas in the way that they value each other on Christmas. I just like that. But never really had that too much growing up. And it's always kind of stressful for my family, so I just not a huge fan. But yeah. Which order of my theories? The plant is clearly not human. Neapolitan is the best. Oh man. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, folks are showing up. I can do another one if you guys want, or we'll just call it off. If no one says anything about it, if you just like casually ignore that I'm putting out the offer to do one more storyline, then we'll just leave it at that and do it. All right. Cool. Yeah. So we'll give this will be the actual last one for sure. Simply because I don't know which story we would do after. that's dark or whatever, or violent or scary. I guess this one's not really that scary. It's just more like action oriented. We'll do it though. We've been throwing out the plant this whole time, and I'm just gonna continue to throw out the plant, grab the pot, doorbell rings. We'll answer with the pot in hand. This time we'll ask her if she gave us something. We haven't done that. Oh wait, I don't think we can actually do this. I think it messes everything up. If you want to see that path, you just have to play it yourself. We'll give her the plant. She'll be stoked. Make us dinner, return. We'll consider what the plant is. We'll try giving it people food, like spaghetti. He likes your hand a little more than spaghetti, so he's gonna have to die. So we grab the pot with our bare hands once again, and we smash it on the floor once again. I can't even remember what happens if you rip it out of the dirt. Oh yeah, it turns into like a snake monster. There's a really funny storyline that comes out of this one if you do it. Just for your own enjoyment. Is the first one I wrote was actually the first ending I wrote was in this selection here, and it's really funny, and I think it stands as a quality line. So smash it on the floor. Here we go. And then we're gonna run. We'll pick a neighbor random for help, but the game doesn't actually compute that as random. It always picks the same neighbor because I only broke one neighbor. So I think we'll say,
I need help. Do I know you, scrub?
He asks in a smoky, smooth as gravel irritation. The man seems upset with your rashness, but you cannot stop the words of fear and embarrassment from pouring out. Lucky for you, he's the kind of person that likes to be the hero in a person's world where the problem seems minuscule. The king of the mountain made from a molehill.
Don't get your britches in a bunch. I got just the thing for your problem.
He shuts the door in your face. Let's wait. Awkwardly wait out front of his door. Assuming his lack of manners is an unspoken reply to yours, you swallow your hurt feelings and hold back whatever impatience is within you to knock on the door or run somewhere else. You stand there for about 10 minutes, nervousness nearly convincing you to leave until the door swings open. The man has returned covered head to toe in a flat black welder's suit and face shield, reeking of gasoline. In one hand he holds a fire extinguisher, the other gripping what appears to be a flamethrower. He lifts up the mask, initiates the pilot of his oversized blowtorch, and lights up the cigarette he has in his mouth.
Take this, scrub.
Someone's gotta clean up my mess, he says, thrusting the fire extinguisher into your unwilling hands. Clearly this isn't the fire department you called for. You walk across the street and stand just a few yards away from your open door. At this point, it'd be incredibly awkward and intimidating to tell the guy you don't want his help. You glance over at him, flamethrower at the hip, giant tank of fuel strapped to his back, taking in the calm before the storm as he sucks down smoke. I don't know.
You want me to do what again?
Or,
let's light this place up.
yeah, let's do that one.
Hold your torches, Pyro. Remember, you gotta be quick on that foam board. Otherwise, we'll find ourselves knee-deep in ash and arson charges.
He'll do the Sarge from Red vs. Blue. He gets to the end of his stogie and puts it out on his tongue.
But that don't mean we can have no fun burning these bugs, he adds.
With a wink, he flicks the welder's mask back on. Though you normally might think his plan should be questioned, you're actually a bit excited to see how this plays out. Blame on, Johnny Storm. Gosh darn it. Clearly this guy is pumped up. Despite the door being half closed, he full force kicks it open. Despite what you warned him of the numerous reproduction you witnessed of the worm roots, he takes no worry to peek around or check corners for their lurking. You follow close behind as he stomps into the kitchen. I just realized that the camera has been up huge this whole time. My B archive watchers and watchers currently watching. I assume people are just listening along right now. Let's see. The room you follow close behind as he stomps into the kitchen. The room is in complete disarray. The creatures coat the walls. Your newfound friend lets out a big, long cowboy yelp and opens the throttle wide on. I imagine it's like a yeehaw! A bright, hot cloud of fire explodes out of the end of the flamethrower, and the creatures light up instantly. In that same instant, the smoke alarms blare and beep. This, coupled with the white, bright fire and extreme temperature, creates for sensory overload. Before you get too caught up in the stimuli surrounding, you remember your job. You jump forward and quell any tall flame with a quick blast of the fire extinguisher. As the foam does its work, you see the motionless, charred remains of the roots beneath. This lunatic's plan works. When you were caught up with your little patch of work on one side of the kitchen, the Fire Lord over here has kept no inhibition toward letting these suckers have it. He hoots and hollers, spraying flame like if a suburban dad had reason to be excited about watering the lawn. His ardor for arson seems nearly hysterical as he disregards any of your belongings or the personal safety of either of you. You rush over to put the flames out before they grow too quick, but it's hard to keep up. The roots do what they can to retaliate, but be it their inability to travel quickly or their instinctual stupidity, their efforts are quickly stopped. When they get close, they take leaps at the Human Torch, but he reacts aptly, kicking them down with his giant boots or smacking them out of the air with the end of the torch. At this point, their greatest offensive seems to be high-pitched death cries, which can be heard clearly over the screaming alarm and roaring flames. The main light shatters in the kitchen, sending sparks flying. Some land in your face, burning your eyes and blinding you. Your partner takes no notice of your pain, yipping and hawing by the light of the fire. The combination of burnt eyes and smoke-filled air brings you to the ground. You set down the extinguisher and rub your eyes furiously to regain sight, and bring the stinging down for about a minute. When you look up, it's clear that the job is a bit well done. Pieces of the ceiling begin to fall, and it's clear the fire has great means to spread itself. You grab the extinguisher and frantically spray in a half-radial sweep. You look to your left and notice your friend has flickers of flames climbing up his suit. As the flame grows, it appears he didn't really prepare himself for flame retardant. Part of the roof falls across your back in this instant, and your shirt sets ablaze. While you are wailing from the great heat, your compatriot takes no notice of the fire upon himself or you. We already did the ending where it turns out you're the plant yesterday. Twice. We actually had a couple different endings. I mean, if you count the parasite, that is. There's one where you literally swap bodies with the plant, but that one was a little esoteric. Okay, chat. What do we do? Do we put out his flame, or do we put ourselves out? And, see if maybe perhaps it's not all selfish. Like, maybe if we put ourselves out, we'll have a better chance of putting him out. But maybe if we put his flame out, this is his only chance. We've been the plant the whole time. Alright, I see what you're saying. So yeah, if you would in chat, the first person to give me a suggestion for what we should do, put yourself out. Alright, here we go. It's like an airline you put. Cool, we got both Andrews saying we put ourselves out. So you put your mask on before someone else's. I like the logic, yeah. Just like an airline. So let's put yourself out. The scorching heat is unbearable. You can't even seem to rip the shirt off as the flames are too great for your hands. You aim the extinguisher at your back and pull the nozzle. The foam douses the fire with ease, and though the pain does not cease entirely, you are no longer being cooked alive. Looking back over to save your buddy, you notice in the seconds you spent helping yourself that the invading flames have finally caught his attention. He slaps his arms and legs down to no avail. As you run to reach him, he falls, and the fresh oxygen beneath the smoky air gives new life to his assailant. His body is engulfed entirely, and the muffled yelps you heard earlier are now panic shrieks. He rolls over to see you running toward him, then repeats the same thing over and over, pointing at his back. The gasoline! You lift the hose Put your hand on the nozzle and boom. Wah, wah, wah. Oh, the gopher disappeared. There he is. Come on. Dun, dun, dun. Alright, so... yeah, unfortunately we can't use the gasoline to light up our... I mean, we did technically use it to light up our fighting spirit, but... you know, then we died. So let's see what happens when we take the other answer, just because that was a little anticlimactic for the stream's sake. I mean, it's a great, like, you died sort of thing. IMO. So we're smashing it, running, talking to the neighbor, asking for help, waiting around for him. Let's light this place up. Oh yeah, we can do this other one because this is like a returning thing. So, you want me to do what again? Relax, Smokey. I'm gonna torch these some guns, and you're gonna prevent forest fires like the bear you are. He drags his cigarette down to the butt, stamps it out, and tips his welder mask at you before you close it over his face. Only you, he muffles, pointing his index finger into your chest. Like, Redneck Botanical Extermination 101. Alright, so all the fire stuff happens, and then, let's put his flame out this time. Flames engulfing you both. You fail not to remember that the redneck has a rather large, still rather full canister of fuel strapped to his back. The burning over your body is unbearable, yet you know if there's a chance that the thing could blow it, it would mean the death of you both. You throw yourself down to the floor, in doing so lobbing the fire extinguisher right at his feet. Despite never learning his name, you cry out, "Smokey, help!" He called you Smokey, but now you're calling him Smokey. Or, "Smokey, help!" That's his voice. Smokey sees your distress, only to be distracted by his own caught flame. Though holding both the torch and the extinguisher proved rather difficult to maneuver, he manages to pull himself out with the extinguisher. "Come on, scrub, roll!" His voice rougher than ever. You tuck your arms in and begin rocking along the ground, struggling with the flame like one would be against a strangler. You hear the extinguisher blast across the room, indicating that Smokey knowingly isn't coming to save you as you roast. Still, adrenaline gives you the energy to roll and roll despite the extreme pain from rubbing your blistered skin, all on top of the rough, charred bodies of those dead wormroots. And it all stops. Though not cool, the foam pours over you and neutralizes the heat. With this relief, you lay listening to the flames vanquished by the froth. You writhe, just as the worms did when they were alive. If it weren't for your insurance, you'd be financially ruined right now. The investigators cited a faulty gas stove for the fire starter and are working on the lawsuit. They let you know how lucky you were that your neighbor came and put the fire out. He had to use the extinguisher he brought from home, though. And they shamed you for not having your own. They did remark at the same bizarre amount of ash left from the fire, curious as to where it came from. Some of the cleanup crew remarked the shape of the certain cluster, pondering if it took the form of some kind of vermin, but not looking too much into it. It'll take a month of healing. Nice. Good one, Fallon. It'll take months of healing and physical therapy to fix a small portion of the damage under your skin. But thankfully, majority of the burns were only second degree. Good thing you've made a friend hell-bent on making sure you're alright. Despite not knowing you all that well, he found a new light in life after that evening. Who would have thought persistence and patience on an interaction that appeared largely undesirable could be such a force of goodness? There's no doubt Smokey will stick around for quite some time. Though someone's gotta get the guy to quit smoking in the hospital. You lived! Dun, dun, dun. Alright, I'm done for real this time. Again, thanks for watching. Again, check out my Bandcamp. As soon as it's done uploading, you'll see the, I would say just like wait 10-15 minutes and I will have those ambient tracks up and ready for you to listen to and enjoy. And again, please check out my Patreon if you haven't. When 5 people start watching, yeah, well, I don't know what to say. I've been doing it for 2 hours. I'm telling you, it's a shame. I did give people a heads up. Feel free to watch the archive. Yeah, and we'll be doing this again in full force. We're going to be playing the whole game on November 19th to celebrate the 1-year birthday of the Ceramic Uncertainty. And we'll be having like more interaction. We'll have like more timely polls for decisions and things like that, and it'll be a lot of fun. I'll try and do like prizes and more incentive to watch. It's just gonna be like a big old marathon. I'm really excited for it. We'll have other readers. Possibly I'll throw in like development tweaks here and there, maybe fixing some of the errors, maybe putting on a skin for the big birthday thing. Maybe like maybe this background here we could just have like streamers and balloons or something. I don't know. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. All of you who have watched any portion of today's stream or Saturday stream. It was super fun to do this. I really enjoyed it. I would love to connect with you guys in terms of the art that I make or just in general. I'm sure that if you're watching, you probably already know me and we already have some way of talking, even if it's just occasional or whatever. But yep, I'm just gonna make this go for really big and turn up the music, then I'll fade it out.